Good morning, Dublin. Almost as the whole week already. We are still all sitting at home and watching slides and talks and everything online, but at least the morning coffee is real. So, I hope you've all enjoyed the OSS, the Open Source Summit, and the Embedded Linux conference in the last 3 days. There for sure have been an awesome amount of great talks and topics that have been discussed and presented. I will probably be busy catching up on a lot of the recordings for the next couple of weeks or maybe even months, but that's how things are these days. Actually, I think that's a good side of the current situation. It's easier to catch up other than in a face-to-face conference where you have to pick your presentation, and if it's bad, well, then you're on bad luck and have to hope that the recordings show up someday, which they often do, sometimes don't. So let's make the best of it. Hey, good morning, Robert. So today we're not going to talk about the ELC schedule. We're going to talk about the Yocto Project 2020, uh, Yocto Project Summit 2020 schedule, because that is what will start in pretty much exactly 4 hours from now on. If you are watching this in the future, that number might not be accurate anymore. So let's see what's coming up today. Today, Thursday, we will have a beginner room and an intermediate room, obviously. And David, the I think his formal name is head of training at the Yocto project. I'm not sure. Correct me, David, if I'm mistitling you. We'll say hello, everybody, and lead the way to the two tracks. And I think we're gonna look at the beginner room first, just for the sake of simplicity. Okay. There's one morning presentation over almost 4 hours by a famous B.N. Webster. And yeah, I think this is basically um, the most condensed version of getting up to speed for any form of Yocto project or open embedded technology that can be had at all. Long story short, this is exactly how I started out. When I had literally no clue what's going on, I registered for the Yocto Project Developer Day and I took exactly that class, which was when it made basically click in my head and I said, okay, this is something I gotta use because it's useful. And personal anecdote, in that very session, it was not given by Bian when I took it. It was given by Chris, but Bian was assisting. He was sitting in the back, and I was just hacking all along, and was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And I was like, "Okay, stop now. I need a coffee." And Bean was sitting right next to me, and we had absolutely never ever met before. I had no clue who he was, and he had no clue who I was. And he was like, "Can you bring me one too?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I went out and came back with 2 cups of coffee. And I handed him one, and he said, "Well, thanks." And some other guy, I think it was Darren Hart, was sitting right next to Bean on the other side, and he was like, "Why didn't you bring me coffee?" And I was like, "You didn't ask." And that's two morals in one. First, I will always offer Bean a coffee whenever we meet. And second, if you want something, if it's just a cup of coffee or if you want to learn something, just ask. You might maybe not like any answer that you get, but you have to try. Just ask. Okay, I think that was enough fame for Bian this morning. Um, the second half of the beginner track is given by Tom King, also of ancient open embedded fame, probably. So let's have a short look at the at the description. Yeah, well, that basically picks up where Brian leaves leaves off for lunch. What are layers? What's going on in their images building an application? Yeah. So if you're new to this, just watch those two classes. Actually, we didn't have those in the ELC in North America earlier this year, and it was highly problematic. So I actually stepped up along a couple amongst some other folks, and we said like we really need to have a beginner talk, and even if it's just for one or two persons, people. In English, it's people that are attending it. We need to reach out to those who are just getting the basics started. And well, we do care for you. Uh, then intermediate room. Well, David's gonna say hello, as we all know. And here's probably a little bit more to discuss because there's way more presentations being had. Okay, Bruce is speaking on building and deploying containers. Let's just look at this. Okay, now, as far as I know, this is rather new. Building an OCI container, right? My last state was that that meta virtualization is mainly the runtimes plus some start of orchestration frameworks. So if you are interested in the state of union of container support, well, then this might be of interest to you. Docker containers in Yocto by two speakers I have never met before. One or more containers, Docker containers on an embedded platform. So that basically is building Docker and shipping it right in the image. Well, it's not what I personally need, but I see a lot of possible use cases here, so might be interesting. And then Robert obviously picks on the same topic up, building the OCI container as Bruce will probably outline, adding it to the rootfs. That might probably be a nice addition to the how to ship a Yocto container in the image. Oh well, and you obviously have to launch a container. By the way, Robert is one of the important guys in this streaming sessions. He goes by the nick Reliable Embedded Systems here, and he's always very helpful and providing a lot of feedback. I just have to be distracted for a very short moment because my phone is ringing. So I'm back now. Composing reliable systems with virtualization and the Yocto project. Vendor kernel is dead, as we all know, and long live secured vendor kernels. Okay, let's look at this. Tim, I still know him without a beard. Okay, integrated systems where the Yocto project with multiple hypervisors is. I sense a pattern here. Probably that containers and virtualization are like the new hot shit this year for the Yocto project. That probably makes some sense given the current state of affairs in technology. Where are we? Okay, I did mess up here now. After Robert, there's actually Rust in OE core um, by Randy. So Rust has been blessed as at least being interested by our overlord of the Linux kernel. So I know that it is being proposed to get into OE core as a first class citizen, basically. So I expect this to be the state of affairs there. Paul is then demoing on it, and okay, a classic topic, but always a relevant one is reducing the size of your images. This is actually a lot of us elders do not think about this anymore too much, but when you're just starting out, this is really an interesting topic. Okay, then we had Tim and vendor kernels and CI/CD. I have to admit that I have absolutely no clue what Kubernetes and Tekton are doing. I just guess that this is like um, half an hour of black magic on how to build stuff in the cloud. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I expect here. Okay, building a BSP layer. Oh my God, BSP layers. BSP layers are if you want to scare any OE open source, not open source, OE Yocto project supporter in the free world, then you say, hey, I've got this BSP, and if you want to make some pain tolerant OE consultant happy, then you say, hey, I've got this BSP, because usually BSPs make for an awesome amount of trouble that can be sorted out with an awesome amount of money thrown towards consultants. And hopefully, Matt is giving some ideas on how to get stuff set up correctly so that you do not have to throw money and keep it for yourself, which is a good thing. Look at this if you are a board vendor. And then how to create a WIG plugin, boot image grub plugin development. I do not know, Norbert, and I have just wigged as is um, for image creation of canned scripts. I I think this is actually of more interest than it looks like at first beginning, because Wig basically can create any form of binary blob that you can throw at your hardware. And when you are in the deeply embedded world where you just flash your firmware blob on NOR in production and hand it out, maybe even not only for PC BIOS but also on ARM, on RISC-V or whatever you are running, then this is really an important topic: how to automatically create that sad blob. So I expect I do not know the presentation and I do not know the presenter. Um, I expect actually some good ideas on how to automate your firmware generation process, because that often involves black magic and handcarved scripts so far. And yeah, I think that that will be hopefully surprisingly a surprise topic. Okay, I think that's it for today. Our quarter is over. My coffee not yet, but I say let's all see you same place tomorrow morning for the last mug of coffee in this conference week, and see you later at the Yocto Project Summit. As usual, thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Head to the Project Summit. Head to IRC. Well, you know the shebang. See you later, folks.